Sometimes the hardest person to change is yourself. You've tried setting goals, you've promised yourself a fresh start, but somehow you keep falling into the same old patterns. Why? Because real reinvention doesn't come from willpower alone. It comes from wisdom that has stood the test of time. The Stoics knew this over 2,000 years ago. They didn't believe in chasing quick fixes or waiting for motivation. Instead, they focused on small, deliberate actions, habits that shape your mind, your resilience, and ultimately, your life. In today's fast-paced world, their insights are more relevant than ever. Whether you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or just ready to become the best version of yourself, Stoic principles can give you the clarity and discipline to transform your life, step by step. This video isn't about vague philosophy, it's about real, practical change. You'll learn 10 Stoic habits that will help you break free from anxiety, build mental toughness, and take control of your life. From mastering small daily actions to embracing challenges and setting boundaries, these lessons will help you create a stronger, more focused, and more resilient self. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with a clear roadmap for Stoic self-reinvention. You'll see how ancient wisdom applies to modern struggles, and most importantly, you'll know exactly what to do next. So, if you're serious about growth, stay with me until the end, because the most important lesson is waiting for you there. And before we dive in, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Stoic Teachings today if you're ready to master Stoic habits for change, personal growth principles, and the art of mastering resilience. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Small actions, big results. Change doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come from a single life-altering decision. It's not about waking up one day and becoming a completely different person. Instead, real transformation, Stoic self-reinvention, comes from something much simpler, much more powerful. Small, consistent actions repeated over time. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology confirmed it. They knew that life isn't about massive leaps, but about steady progress. One step, one habit, one decision at a time. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, put it plainly: you must build up life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. In other words, don't focus on the grand outcome. Focus on the next step. That's how lasting change happens. Yet, so many of us get stuck because we believe that reinvention requires a huge shift, a total reset. That belief leads to frustration, because when change feels too big, we don't even start. And when we do start, we often expect instant results. We go all in on a new habit, waking up at 5 a.m., working out every day, meditating for an hour, only to burn out within a few weeks. The result? We feel like we've failed, and we return to the same old patterns. But what if, instead of forcing dramatic changes, you focused on small, manageable actions that actually stick? Imagine wanting to improve your fitness. Instead of committing to an intense program that you can't sustain, what if you simply started with a 10-minute walk every day? That's small enough that you can't fail. But over time, it builds momentum. That walk might turn into a jog. That jog might turn into a full workout. And before you know it, you've transformed not by forcing yourself into an extreme lifestyle, but by letting your small actions accumulate into something greater. This principle applies to everything, whether it's learning a new skill, strengthening your relationships, or overcoming anxiety. If you want to read more books, Don't pressure yourself to finish a novel in a week. Just read 1 page a day. If you want to write, don't aim for a whole chapter. Just write 100 words. These tiny actions may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they lead to massive results. More importantly, they create identity shifts. If you walk every day, even just for 10 minutes, you start to see yourself as someone who is active. If you write 100 words daily, you start seeing yourself as a writer. Change isn't just about actions, it's about becoming the kind of person who naturally does those things. The Stoics embraced this idea deeply. Seneca advised, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life." That means each day is a chance to improve, not through perfection, but through progress. You don't need to change everything today. You just need to take one small step. And when you do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, those small steps turn into something powerful. So, how can you apply this right now? Start by identifying one simple action that aligns with the person you want to become. Make it so easy you can't fail. Want to build discipline? Make your bed every morning. Want to improve your mindset? Write down one thing you're grateful for each night. Want to feel healthier? Drink a glass of water as soon as you wake up. Don't underestimate these actions just because they seem small. The key is to show up consistently. Think of these habits like drops of water filling a jar. At first, it seems like nothing is changing, but then, over time, the jar overflows. That's the power of Stoic self-reinvention. And remember, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. Take that small step today, because in the end, reinvention isn't about a single moment. It's about the habits you choose day after day that shape who you become. And if you start now, just imagine where you'll be a year from today. Lesson 2. Master anxiety before it masters you. Anxiety isn't just a passing feeling. It's a force that can control your life if you let it. It seeps into your thoughts, magnifies your fears, and keeps you trapped in an endless cycle of worry. But here's the truth. Anxiety doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from within. It comes from the way we interpret situations, from the way we let our minds run wild with worst-case scenarios. And this is exactly what the Stoics understood over 2,000 years ago. They didn't try to eliminate fear. Instead, they learned how to master it. Epictetus put it clearly. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. This means that it's not external events that cause suffering. It's our perception of those events. Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same situation, yet one remains calm while the other spirals into panic. The difference isn't what happened, it's how they reacted. That's why mastering anxiety starts with mastering your mindset. Right now, you might be worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet. Maybe it's an upcoming exam, a difficult conversation, a big decision. Your mind starts racing. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if everything goes wrong? This is anxiety's greatest trick. It convinces you that the future is already doomed, even though nothing has actually happened. The Stoics teach us to stop fighting imaginary battles and focus on what we can control in this moment. So, what can you control? You can control your thoughts, your actions, your perspective. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The next time anxiety takes hold, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, focus on action. Let's take an example. Imagine you have an important presentation at work. Your mind starts spiraling. What if I forget what to say? What if my boss thinks I'm incompetent? These thoughts serve no purpose. Instead, a Stoic approach would be to shift focus to what you can control. You can practice, you can prepare, you can organize your thoughts and make sure your slides are clear. That is where your energy should go. Everything else, the audience's reaction, the unexpected technical issues, are beyond your power. But what about anxiety that doesn't come from specific situations? What about the vague, restless feeling that follows you every day? The Stoics had an answer for this too. Stay present. Anxiety thrives when your mind is in the future, worrying about things that haven't happened yet. But the present? The present is always manageable. Seneca reminds us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Think about how many times you've dreaded something, only to realize later that it wasn't as bad as you thought. Your fears were an illusion. Here's how you apply this to your daily life. The next time you feel anxiety building, stop. Take a deep breath. Then, write down your biggest worry. See it on paper. Then, next to it, write down one small action you can take today to address it. Just one. Not everything, just one. This shifts your focus from helplessness to problem solving. For example, if you're anxious about an overwhelming workload, instead of panicking, break it down. List the tasks. Choose one to start with. If you're stressed about a difficult conversation, don't dwell on what could go wrong. Prepare what you'll say and focus on speaking with clarity. Every time you take action, you take power away from anxiety. But what if your fear is something you truly can't control? Then you must practice acceptance. The Stoics didn't believe in false hope. They believed in facing reality. They taught that suffering comes from resisting what is, instead of embracing what must be. If something is outside your power, worrying won't change it. Let it go. Focus your energy where it actually matters. And remember this, anxiety is temporary. It feels overwhelming now, but like a storm, it will pass. The more you train yourself to respond with calmness and action, the stronger you become. Over time, you'll notice something incredible. The things that once made you anxious won't shake you anymore. You'll move through life with clarity, resilience, and peace. So, here's your challenge. The next time anxiety rises, don't run from it. Face it. Ask yourself, what can I control? Then take one step forward. That's how you master anxiety before it masters you. Lesson 3. Build a routine that works for you. Life is chaotic. Unexpected challenges, endless distractions, and constant demands pull us in different directions. Without structure, we drift, reacting to life instead of shaping it. This is why the Stoics believed in the power of routine. They understood that discipline isn't about restricting yourself. It's about creating a framework that gives you clarity, control, and freedom. A well-designed routine isn't just a list of habits. It's a foundation for Stoic self-reinvention. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He wasn't speaking in abstract terms. He was talking about action. Who you are isn't defined by your intentions or your potential. It's defined by what you do every single day. Your routine shapes your mind, your character, and your destiny. But here's the problem. Most people either don't have a routine or they try to force one that doesn't work for them. They wake up with no clear plan, spending their mornings scrolling through their phones, reacting to messages, and rushing through the day with no direction. By the time the evening comes, they wonder where all the time went. Sound familiar? The truth is, you don't need more hours in the day. You need a better way to use them. So, how do you build a routine that actually works? Start by identifying your non-negotiables, the things that matter most. These are your anchors. For some, it might be morning meditation. For others, a workout, focused work time, or reading. What matters isn't what you choose, it's that you choose something. A solid routine gives your day purpose before the chaos begins. Imagine two people starting their day. One wakes up, immediately checks their phone, and gets lost in distractions. The other wakes up, spends 5 minutes reflecting on their goals, drinks a glass of water, and then tackles their most important task. Which person do you think will feel more in control of their life? It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. But here's the key: your routine must work for you. Many people try to copy morning routines from successful entrepreneurs or influencers, only to give up when it doesn't fit their lifestyle. The Stoics didn't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach. They believed in introspection, understanding yourself, your needs, and your natural rhythms. Maybe you're most productive in the morning, so you should tackle deep work early. Maybe your energy peaks in the afternoon, so that's when you schedule important tasks. The goal isn't to force yourself into a rigid structure. It's to create a rhythm that supports your goals without unnecessary friction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." How you start your day shapes your mindset. If you wake up with intention, your entire day follows that momentum. But routines aren't just about mornings. They're about protecting your time throughout the day. Without a clear structure, it's easy to spend hours reacting to emails, scrolling social media, or getting pulled into tasks that don't matter. That's why planning your day in advance is a game changer. Try this. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to write down your top 3 priorities for tomorrow. Just 3. No endless to-do lists. Just the most important things. This simple habit reduces decision fatigue and helps you wake up with clarity. You'll no longer waste mental energy figuring out what to do. You'll already know. Another powerful principle: batch similar tasks together. Instead of checking your emails all day, set 2 time slots, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Instead of switching between different types of work, dedicate deep focus time for important projects and separate blocks for meetings or admin tasks. This protects your mental energy and makes your routine more efficient. And what about the unpredictable? Life is full of surprises. Some days your routine will get interrupted. That's okay. The Stoics remind us to be flexible, not rigid. A good routine isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. If something throws you off, adapt. What matters isn't following the routine perfectly, it's getting back on track. So here's your challenge. Tonight, take 5 minutes to plan your next day. Identify your top 3 priorities. Choose one habit to anchor your morning and commit to showing up. Because when you take control of your routine, you take control of your life. And that's where real Stoic self-reinvention begins. Lesson 4. Break free from bad habits. Bad habits don't appear overnight. They creep in slowly, disguised as small choices that seem harmless. A few extra minutes scrolling through your phone, skipping one workout, procrastinating on an important task. At first, It doesn't seem like a big deal. But over time, these small behaviors compound, trapping you in cycles that hold you back. And before you know it, you feel stuck, wondering why you can't seem to break free. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from self-mastery. They knew that we are not truly in control of our lives until we gain control over our habits. Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In other words, every habit you allow to persist, good or bad, shapes your future. Your actions today create the person you become tomorrow. But breaking bad habits isn't about willpower alone. The Stoics didn't believe in forcing change through sheer discipline. Instead, they focused on awareness and redirection. First, you must recognize the habits that are holding you back. Often, we go through life on autopilot, repeating behaviors without questioning them. The first step to change is to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what habits are controlling me? Are they leading me toward the life I want? Imagine someone who habitually scrolls through social media for hours. They feel drained afterward, frustrated with themselves for wasting time, but the cycle repeats. A Stoic approach wouldn't be to shame oneself for this behavior, but to examine it with curiosity. Why do I do this? Am I avoiding something? What feeling am I trying to escape? Identifying the root cause of a habit gives you the power to change it. The next step, replace the habit with something better. The Stoics knew that nature abhors a vacuum. If you simply try to quit a bad habit, you'll likely fall back into it. But if you replace it with a more constructive action, the transition becomes easier. Let's say you want to stop procrastinating. Instead of telling yourself, "I won't procrastinate anymore," set a tiny replacement habit, like working on your task for just 5 minutes. Small, intentional actions are the key to lasting change. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of breaking bad habits, realizing that you are not powerless. You don't have to be a prisoner to past behaviors. You can choose different actions, starting today. Another key? Change your environment. If you're trying to eat healthier, don't rely on willpower alone. Remove junk food from your kitchen. If you want to stop checking your phone at night, put it in another room before bed. Make the desired habit easier and the bad habit harder. And what happens when you slip up? Because at some point, you will. This is where many people give up. They think one mistake means failure. But the Stoics had a different mindset. Failure is not falling down. It's refusing to get back up. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you stumble, get back up. What matters is how quickly you recover. Breaking a habit isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. So, here's what you can do right now. Identify one bad habit that's holding you back. Write it down. Then, instead of just trying to quit, replace it with one small positive action. Maybe it's replacing late-night scrolling with reading one page of a book. Maybe it's swapping negative self-talk with writing down a simple affirmation. Whatever it is, start small, stay consistent, and remind yourself, every time you choose a better habit, you reclaim your freedom. That is the true power of Stoic self-reinvention. Lesson 5. Learn to say no and focus on what matters. Your time is your most valuable resource. Yet how often do you find yourself saying yes to things that don't truly matter? Agreeing to plans you don't enjoy, taking on extra responsibilities out of guilt, filling your schedule with obligations that drain you instead of energizing you. Before you know it, your days are packed, your mind is overwhelmed, and you barely have time for what's actually important. The Stoics understood this dilemma. They knew that the key to Stoic self-reinvention wasn't just about adding good habits. It was about eliminating distractions. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The problem isn't that life is too short. The problem is that we allow meaningless things to consume our time. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something that truly matters. And if you don't take control of how you spend your time, other people will decide for you. So why is it so hard to say no? Because we fear disappointing others. We don't want to seem selfish. We feel pressure to be agreeable. But here's the truth. Learning to say no isn't about rejection. It's about protection. It's about protecting your focus, your energy, and your peace of mind. It's about making sure that your life is spent on things that align with your values. The Stoics weren't concerned with pleasing everyone. They were concerned with living with purpose. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." If today were your last day, would you be proud of how you spent it? Or would you regret how much time was wasted on things that didn't really matter? Life is too short to be filled with unnecessary obligations. And the moment you start choosing what truly deserves your time, your life begins to change. But how do you apply this in everyday life? Start with one simple question. Does this serve my purpose? Before agreeing to anything, whether it's a meeting, a favor, or a social event, pause and ask yourself, is this aligned with my goals, my values, and my priorities? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to decline. And you don't need to over-explain. A simple, "I appreciate the offer, but I can't commit to that right now," is enough. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Imagine someone who wants to write a book but never has time. They're always busy, helping others, attending events, responding to endless messages. The book remains unwritten, not because they lack talent, but because they never learned to say no. Now imagine if they protected just 1 hour a day for focused writing. The book gets finished, and their dream becomes reality, all because they set boundaries. Here's another way to take action. Conduct a time audit. For 1 week, track how you spend your time. Write down everything: work, social media, conversations, distractions. Then, review it. Ask yourself, where am I spending time on things that don't serve me? What can I eliminate or reduce? You'll likely realize that a significant portion of your day is being wasted on things that don't bring value. And once you see it clearly, you can start making changes. Saying no isn't just about saving time. It's about creating space for what truly matters. Time for deep work, time for meaningful relationships, time for personal growth. Every yes should be a conscious choice, not an automatic response. So here's your challenge. Today, say no to one thing that doesn't serve you. It can be small. Maybe it's skipping a pointless meeting. Maybe it's putting your phone on silent and avoiding social media for an hour. Maybe it's setting a boundary with someone who constantly drains your energy. Whatever it is, practice protecting your time. Because every moment you reclaim is a step toward living with clarity, purpose, and intention. This is how you take back control. This is how you master resilience and focus on what truly matters. And this is how you begin your journey of Stoic self-reinvention. Lesson 6. Take on challenges that shape you. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you step into uncertainty. When you take on challenges that test your limits and force you to become stronger. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't seek an easy life. They sought a life of resilience, because real transformation, real Stoic self-reinvention, comes not from avoiding difficulties but from embracing them. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." In other words, the obstacles you face don't break you, they reveal you. Every challenge is an opportunity to build strength, to refine your character, to prove to yourself what you are truly capable of. But most people don't see it this way. Most people see challenges as threats, something to fear, something to avoid. The problem: avoiding discomfort prevents growth. Think about a time you faced a real challenge. Maybe it was a tough conversation you didn't want to have, a new skill that seemed impossible to learn, a situation that pushed you far beyond your comfort zone. At first, it probably felt overwhelming, but looking back, you can see how much stronger you became because of it. That's the power of challenges. They shape you in ways that comfort never could. So why do so many people stay stuck? Because they tell themselves a story. I can't do this. I'm not ready. What if I fail? But the Stoics knew that growth doesn't come from waiting until you feel ready. It comes from doing, from taking action despite the fear. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the very thing you're avoiding, the thing that feels hard, uncomfortable, uncertain, is the thing that will push you forward. Imagine someone who fears public speaking. Every time an opportunity comes up, they avoid it. They tell themselves, "I'm just not good at speaking in front of people," but the only way to get better is to face the fear, to start small. Maybe they speak up in a meeting. Maybe they practice in front of a friend. Each time they step into discomfort, they build confidence. And before they know it, something that once terrified them becomes second nature. This applies to every area of life. Want to get stronger? Lift heavier weights, even when it feels difficult. Want to improve your career? Take on responsibilities that stretch you, even when you doubt yourself. Want to build emotional resilience? Face uncomfortable situations instead of avoiding them. Growth is always on the other side of challenge. But here's the key. Start where you are. You don't have to take on a massive challenge right away. Just take one step outside your comfort zone. If you're afraid of failure, set a small goal and accomplish it. If you struggle with discipline, commit to one daily habit that challenges you. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to build momentum. And when you face setbacks, remember that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. The Stoics knew that failure is just another form of learning. Seneca said, "The bravest sight in the world is to see a great man struggling against adversity." Struggle isn't a sign that you're weak. It's proof that you're growing. So here's your challenge. Choose one thing that makes you uncomfortable and do it. Maybe it's speaking up when you usually stay quiet. Maybe it's applying for a job you think is out of reach. Maybe it's committing to a workout that feels tough. Whatever it is, take action. Because every time you face a challenge, you reshape yourself into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And that is how you master Stoic self-reinvention. Lesson 7. Surround yourself with people who elevate you. The people around you shape you more than you realize. Their energy, their mindset, their habits, they all influence your own. If you surround yourself with those who complain, avoid challenges, and settle for mediocrity, you will slowly absorb their way of thinking. But if you choose to be around those who strive for growth, who push themselves, who hold themselves to a higher standard, you will rise with them. Stoic self-reinvention is not just about personal habits, it's also about the company you keep. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." He understood that we are a reflection of the people we spend time with. Every conversation, every interaction, every shared experience subtly molds your character. That's why choosing your environment is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. Think about it. Have you ever felt drained after spending time with certain people? Maybe they always focus on negativity. Maybe they discourage you from taking risks or pursuing your goals. Now think about the people who inspire you, the ones who challenge you to be better, who bring out the best in you. The difference is clear, and over time that difference determines who you become. But how do you apply this principle in real life? Start by evaluating your circle. Ask yourself, who in my life lifts me up? Who challenges me in a constructive way? Who holds me accountable? These are the people worth investing in. On the other hand, who constantly drains your energy? Who distracts you from your goals? Who keeps you stuck in the past? Recognizing this doesn't mean you have to cut people off completely, but it does mean being intentional about where you invest your time and attention. Imagine someone trying to build a business. If they surround themselves with people who doubt them, who tell them it's too risky, who dismiss their ambition, they will struggle to stay motivated. But if they connect with others who are also striving for success, who offer support, who share valuable insights, their chances of success increase dramatically. The same applies to fitness, personal development, or any other area of life. Your environment either fuels your growth or stunts it. And it's not just about taking, it's also about giving. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be helpful to others in your time of abundance, for in their time of need, you may find your own opportunity to learn." This means surrounding yourself with strong, growth-oriented individuals isn't just about what you gain, it's about what you contribute. Be the kind of person who elevates others, offer encouragement, share knowledge, and push those around you to rise. One way to start is by seeking out environments that align with your goals. If you want to improve your mindset, join a community of like-minded people, maybe a mastermind group, a book club, or a fitness group. If you want to develop discipline, spend time with those who already embody that trait. The more you immerse yourself in the right environment, the more naturally those qualities become part of you. So here's your challenge. Identify one person in your life who lifts you up and invest more time in that relationship. Then, identify one negative influence and set a boundary. Even a small shift in your environment can create powerful changes. Because when you choose to be around those who elevate you, you elevate yourself. And that is how you master Stoic self-reinvention. Lesson 8. Embrace change as a catalyst for growth. Change is inevitable. It arrives whether you're ready or not. Sometimes as a slow, gradual shift, and other times as an unexpected storm. Most people resist change. They see it as a threat, as something to be feared or avoided. But the Stoics saw it differently. They saw change as a catalyst for growth, an opportunity to evolve into something stronger. And if you want to master Stoic self-reinvention, you must learn to do the same. Marcus Aurelius said, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accept the nature of the universe with love. This is one of the most powerful Stoic teachings. Instead of resisting change, accept it. Instead of fearing it, embrace it. Because change isn't the enemy, your resistance to it is. The moment you stop fighting change and start working with it, you transform not just your circumstances, but yourself. Think about a time when life forced you into an unexpected situation. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe a relationship ended. Maybe you had to move to a new place or take on a challenge you didn't feel ready for. In the moment, it probably felt overwhelming. But looking back, you can see how those experiences shaped you. Maybe they led you to a better opportunity. Maybe they forced you to develop strength and resilience you never knew you had. That's the nature of change. It often feels uncomfortable at first, but in the end it pushes you to grow. So why do we resist it? Because we crave certainty. We want to know exactly what's going to happen. We want to stay in control. But the Stoics understood that control is an illusion. The only thing you truly control is how you respond. Everything else, circumstances, outcomes, the actions of others, is beyond your power. And that's why Stoicism teaches us to focus on our mindset. Instead of seeing change as something happening to you, see it as something happening for you. Imagine someone who loses their job. At first they panic. They feel lost, uncertain, afraid. But if they shift their mindset, they can see the opportunity hidden within the challenge. Maybe this is their chance to pursue a career they're truly passionate about. Maybe it's a chance to develop new skills. The situation itself hasn't changed, but their perspective has, and that makes all the difference. This mindset applies to all areas of life. If a relationship ends, instead of seeing it as a failure, see it as a lesson, an opportunity to grow, to understand yourself better, to become stronger. If a goal doesn't work out the way you planned, instead of feeling defeated, see it as redirection towards something better. This is what the Stoics meant by mastering resilience, not just surviving change, but using it as fuel for personal growth. Seneca reminds us, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. This means that change isn't just about loss, it's also about renewal. When one chapter closes, another begins. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can move forward with confidence. So, how do you apply this in your daily life? The next time you face change, big or small, pause. Take a deep breath. Instead of resisting it, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this help me grow? Shift your focus from fear to opportunity. And here's a simple challenge. Think of one change in your life right now. Maybe it's something recent. Maybe it's something you've been struggling to accept. Now, reframe it. Instead of focusing on what you've lost, focus on what you can gain. Write it down. See the opportunity within the challenge, because when you embrace change, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your own growth. This is how you turn change into power. This is how you cultivate personal growth principles that last. And this is how you master Stoic self-reinvention. Lesson 9. Develop the power of saying no. Most people struggle to say no. They fear disappointing others, missing out, or seeming selfish. So they overcommit, saying yes to things they don't want to do, filling their schedule with obligations that drain them, and leaving little time for what truly matters. But the Stoics knew better. They understood that every yes is also a no to your time, your energy, your priorities. If you want to master Stoic self-reinvention, You must develop the power of saying no. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means that if you're committed to growth, you must let go of the need for approval. People may not always understand your choices. They may question why you're setting boundaries, why you're prioritizing your own well-being. But a Stoic doesn't live for external validation. A Stoic chooses what is right over what is easy. Think about how much time you've lost doing things out of obligation rather than intention. How many times have you agreed to a commitment only to regret it later? Maybe it was a social event you didn't want to attend, a project you didn't have the capacity for, a favor that took time away from your own goals. In the moment, saying yes felt easier than dealing with guilt. But over time, these small decisions add up, leaving you overwhelmed, exhausted, and resentful. The truth is, saying no isn't about rejecting others. It's about protecting your focus. Every time you say no to a distraction, you say yes to something that matters. Every time you decline an unnecessary obligation, you reclaim time for your priorities. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." If your time is finite, why waste it on things that don't align with your purpose? But how do you say no without feeling guilty? The key is to be clear and direct. You don't need an elaborate excuse. A simple, "I appreciate the offer, but I can't commit to that right now," is enough. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Imagine someone who wants to write a book but keeps saying yes to distractions, extra work, unnecessary meetings, social events they don't truly enjoy. Their dream remains just that, a dream. But the moment they start protecting their time, everything changes. They set boundaries. They decline commitments that don't serve them. They prioritize their goal. And suddenly, progress happens. This is the power of saying no. Here's a challenge. Identify one thing this week that doesn't serve you and say no to it. Maybe it's a social event you don't feel like attending. Maybe it's an extra task that isn't your responsibility. Whatever it is, practice setting a boundary. Because every time you say no with intention, you take back control of your time, your energy, and your life. This is how you create space for what truly matters. This is how you master personal growth principles that lead to lasting change. And this is how you take another step in your journey of Stoic self-reinvention. Lesson 10. Bounce back stronger every time. Life will knock you down. That's inevitable. Plans will fall apart. Goals will be delayed. Failures will happen. But what matters is not how many times you fall, it's how you rise. The Stoics understood that setbacks are not obstacles. They are opportunities to grow, to adapt, and to come back stronger. Stoic self-reinvention is not about avoiding difficulties. It's about mastering the ability to bounce back every time. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that every challenge you face is not a dead end. It's a path forward. Instead of seeing failure as defeat, see it as fuel. Instead of fearing setbacks, embrace them as stepping stones to resilience. The greatest strength you can develop is the ability to stand up after every fall, to keep going when things don't go as planned. Think about a time you failed at something important to you. Maybe it was a project that didn't work out, a relationship that ended, a goal you fell short of. In that moment, it probably felt like the end. But looking back, you can see that those failures taught you something. They shaped you. They made you stronger. That's what the Stoics understood. Setbacks are not the end of the road. They are part of the process. But most people don't see it this way. They take failure personally. They let it define them. They give up too soon. The problem isn't the setback itself, it's their perspective. Epictetus reminds us, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. If you see failure as proof that you're not good enough, it will break you. But if you see it as a lesson, as a chance to improve, it will make you stronger. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When asked about his failures while inventing the light bulb, he didn't see them as mistakes. He saw them as necessary steps to success. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Imagine if he had given up after the first few setbacks. The same is true for you. The more you fail, the more you learn. The more you learn, the closer you get to success. So how do you build this kind of resilience? First, reframe failure. Instead of thinking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Every failure contains a lesson. Maybe it's about patience. Maybe it's about preparation. Maybe it's about adjusting your approach. But there is always something to take away. Second, take action, no matter how small. When you fall, the hardest thing is getting back up. But the moment you take that first step, momentum builds. If you lose a job, don't dwell on it. Start looking for new opportunities. If a goal doesn't work out, adjust it and try again. The key is to keep moving forward. Third, practice self-compassion. The Stoics weren't harsh on themselves. They believed in discipline, but they also understood that setbacks are part of being human. Seneca said, "When you stumble, get back up. What matters is how quickly you recover." Instead of beating yourself up for mistakes, focus on your progress. Every setback is temporary. What matters is your response. Here's a challenge. Think of a recent setback and write down 3 things it taught you. Then, write down 1 action you can take today to move forward. It doesn't have to be big, just something small to regain momentum. The faster you bounce back, the stronger you become. This is how you turn failure into strength. This is how you develop personal growth principles that last a lifetime. And this is how you take another step toward mastering Stoic self-reinvention. As we wrap up today's video, let's take a moment to reflect on the powerful Stoic principles we've explored together. We've learned that Stoic self-reinvention is a journey, not a destination. It's about cultivating habits that empower us to live with purpose, resilience, and peace of mind. We've discussed the importance of starting small to achieve big results, because even the smallest actions, taken consistently, can lead to lasting change. We've learned to master anxiety before it masters us, by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't. We've explored the significance of building a routine that works for you, understanding that consistency is the foundation of progress. And we've seen how saying no can actually be one of the most powerful tools for personal growth, freeing up your time and energy for what truly matters. But perhaps the most profound lesson we've covered today is the ability to bounce back stronger every time life knocks us down. The Stoics teach us that setbacks aren't the end. They are the opportunities we need to grow, adapt, and refine our character. Every failure is a lesson, and each challenge we face is a chance to prove to ourselves that we are capable of more. When you practice these Stoic habits, you gain control over your emotions, reduce stress and anxiety, and become more mindful in your daily decisions. By embracing these principles, you create space for a life of clarity, purpose, and deeper fulfillment. Now, I encourage you to take what you've learned today and apply it immediately. Think of one small action you can take today to move towards a Stoic mindset. Whether it's starting a new habit, embracing a change you've been resisting, or simply setting a clear boundary with your time, take that step. Remember, Stoic self-reinvention is a process that starts within you. It's about making intentional choices that shape the person you want to become. You have the power to control your response to life's challenges, and with these Stoic principles, you can begin transforming your life today. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to Stoic Teachings Today for more valuable insights into Stoic philosophy. And if you have thoughts or questions, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear how you're applying these principles in your life. Let's continue this journey of growth together. Thank you for watching, and remember, with Stoicism, you can reinvent yourself one action at a time.